Welcome back, my friends. Jake here. Today's video is going to be controversial because we're going to talk about a Russian soldier who has published a memoir of his personal experiences fighting in Ukraine, and this memoir exposes the Russian military as being in complete disarray. This Russian soldier's name is Pavel Filatyev, and he's a former paratrooper in the Russian army. And he's published a memoir on a Russian social media site earlier this month detailing his experience in Ukraine. Since publishing his memoir, he's had to flee the country. And Pavel's harrowing testimony is the first detailed account of realities facing Russian soldiers that are still fighting this war in Ukraine 6 months after the invasion. And to introduce Pavel to you, I want to show you this video that he published on his Telegram channel yesterday as he finally successfully, safely, reached Paris. I don't know what arrangement he has made with the EU or the government in France, but maybe he was granted asylum or protection for getting out of Russia. And this was his reaction when he landed at the airport in Paris. This clip is about 2 minutes long.
Вот всю жизнь живешь в России, ты понимаешь, что там нахуй никому не нужен. Вот ценность человеческой жизни вообще ровно ноль. И даже пожалуйста, сейчас опять эта война на Украине. Не буду уходить в подробности там. Сейчас просто вспоминаю ребят, которые молодые у нас погибли тоже. Просто ради чего, непонятно ради чего. И как-то меня сейчас прям разрывают всякие эмоции и злость. Именно того, что ты хочешь быть полезным в своей стране, ты ее любишь, но в твоей стране правительство, которому абсолютно похуй. Вот документы у меня с собой. Первое. Ветеранское удостоверение, которое мне выдали на Кавказе. Нахуй. Военный билет, который, я служил там, ты поймешь зачем, никого. Нахуй. Паспорт российский. Загранпаспорт. Надеюсь, видно, вот они. Куча, хуйни. Россию люблю, всех людей русских люблю. Но Путин это не Россия, правительство наше сейчас это не Россия. Путин пошел нахуй.
I understand he's angry, but I feel like at some point in the future, he's going to need some of that documentation that he attempted to flush down the toilets. There was also no chance that a toilet could take all of that passport and paperwork in one flush. So it's an interesting reaction to finally escaping Russia and landing in Paris. But Pavel has been trying to get his story out the last 2 weeks, and he's been making lots of media appearances with mainstream media sources. Here's a clip from CBS Mornings. This is about 1.5 minutes, and once again, I just want you to hear a little bit more of Pavel's story.
We just started moving forward. When the shelling began, we thought it was NATO approaching us, not Ukraine.
Paratrooper Pavel Filatyev says he served in Russia's 56th Air Assault Regiment, sent to capture Kherson early in the conflict.
It was only 10 days later when I realized there is no NATO here. It's only Ukrainians.
Do you feel tricked?
I know that we have been tricked for many years. And everything shown on state TV has nothing to do with reality. Unfortunately, now the same thing is happening in the war.
He provided us with documents to support his claim, which we could not independently verify. He says he was eventually evacuated because of an injury, but until then felt trapped.
The Russian paratroop brigade has a similar attitude to the Navy SEALs of the US. It is cowardly and shameful to lay down your weapons and abandon your post. Even though we started to realize this war was wrong, we didn't know what to do.
With outdated weapons and no food, water or blankets in the freezing cold, they were forced to steal supplies, but he claims many went too far.
There was a lot of looting of laptops and cell phones. I understand why. Not only are they paid very little, but when they think they might die tomorrow, human greed takes over.
So the controversy with Pavel is he a war criminal? For 2 months, he was actively participating in the war, faithfully executing his duties as a Russian soldier. His regiment attacked from Crimea. He helped take the city of Kherson. He was involved in the assaults on the city of Mykolaiv. So for 2 months, he was doing his job and he was targeting civilian infrastructure. More than likely, Pavel has killed innocent Ukrainian civilians as well as Ukrainian military personnel just defending their homes, defending their cities. The controversy is should Pavel return to Ukraine in order to admit his crimes, stand trial, and then accept judgments for his participation in this illegal war? Pavel is asked this question in a CNN interview, and here is his response.
A lot of Ukrainians feel that you should be held responsible for what you've done and for the actions that you've taken part in. Do you think that you should be held responsible? Do you feel responsible for what you've done?
Look, the majority of Russian servicemen did not break the laws of combat, but morally, I feel guilty. Guilty for being used as an instrument in political games, which will not even bring Russia any benefit. Our army has been destroyed. My government has destroyed almost every sphere with corruption, and everyone in Russia knows it.
But Filatyev is the first Russian soldier to speak up, publishing his scathing frontline memoirs on social media before fleeing his homeland. Now he's in exile and he fears a potential target too for the powers he's criticised.
So Pavel admits that he feels guilty, and that is what compelled him to write this memoir. And by writing and publishing this memoir, he's destroyed any life that he might have had as a veteran in Russia, forced to flee, living in exile in Paris. And if he has family and friends still in Russia, more than likely they've been interrogated, maybe even tortured or disappeared, as Pavel is now an enemy of the Putin regime. As long as Putin remains in power and Russia remains a fascist state, he can never go home. More than likely, he will be a target for assassination, even if he is receiving protection from the EU, living in France. It really is a lose-lose situation. Pavel, once again, just felt compelled to admit what was happening with the Russian military in the early months of this conflict. If you want to read the memoir for yourself, I'll include the PDF links down below. Here is the Russian text, the original version. He titled the memoir ZOV after the symbols that the Russian military paints on all their vehicles. And here's a blog that gives an English translation. I'll just read the first sentence for you. It's been a month and a half since I returned from the war in Ukraine. Yes, I know that you cannot say the word war. It was banned. But I still will say war, understand it correctly. I am already 33 years old, and all my life I have been telling only the truth, even if to my own detriment. This is not right, and I cannot do anything about it. I haven't read the entire journal. It's 141 pages, but there is a really good Twitter thread. I'll include the link down below from Chris O. He's an independent military history author. He read the memoir and then summarized it with these tweet-sized bullet points. And I think Pavel was very careful to give as much information as he could criticizing the Russian military, criticizing the Russian government, but he wanted to protect himself and protect, maybe by name, friends that he had in the service to shield them from the war crimes that obviously Russia is committing. He admits to thievery and stealing, but doesn't want to talk about torturing or rape or deliberately targeting and killing Ukrainian civilians, which we know the Russian military is doing. I don't know what to think of him. We need Russian soldiers to stand up and speak up and oppose their governments, oppose what we all know is wrong. But at the same time, Putin has actually trapped them, the hundreds of thousands of Russian service members participating in this war. This was Russia's strategy all along, to turn them into criminals, deliberately sending them into Ukraine without enough equipment, without enough food, allowing them to break into stores and steal laptops and computers and cell phones and ship them back to Russia. Putin wanted them all to feel guilty and to feel like criminals, so they wouldn't do what Pavel did by speaking up to the atrocities of this war. There's a lot of angles, a lot of dynamics. It's very controversial. Let me know what your opinion is down below in a comment. Do you applaud and support what Pavel has done? Or do you think he's still a war criminal and should return to Ukraine to stand trial for participating in this war at all? That's all for this video. If you found it informative, give me a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Till the next video, take care, be safe.